Welcome, everybody, to today's deep dive. I'm your host, and if you're listening to this, you're probably stepping into a new professional chapter, maybe re-entering the workforce or just building a brand new professional toolkit from scratch.
And I'm your resident style and tailoring expert. I'm so glad to be here because, dress codes can feel like this secret exclusionary language.
Right, like everyone else got the rule book and you didn't.
Exactly. But it's really just a series of mechanical solutions.
Hmm.
And today our mission is to decode the foundation of any professional outfit. We're talking about the bottom half trousers, skirts, and the great divide in waist management, belts and braces.
Yeah, and before we jump into the modern rules, I found this amazing detail in the sources. In 1871, the man who wrote Tom Sawyer, Mark Twain, was actually handed one of the very first U.S. patents for adjustable garment straps.
Oh, wait, really? Mark Twain?
Yeah, he sought the patent because even, literary giants absolutely hated the feeling of constantly having to pull up their pants.
That just proves a point we're still dealing with today.
Yeah.
Getting the bottom half of your wardrobe to sit right is this centuries-old engineering problem because gravity is always working against our clothing.
Always. And by the end of this deep dive, you, the listener, are going to have a complete blueprint for how these garments actually function.
Because the bottom half of your outfit is literally the platform your entire silhouette stands on. If you get the waist height and the hem length right, everything you put on top of it just automatically falls into place.
So true. So let's start with, I think, the single biggest correction people need to make when they start wearing tailored clothing, because almost everyone makes the same mistake at first.
Oh, I know exactly what you're going to say.
Right. It's treating dress trousers like casual weekend jeans, like trying to wear them super low on the hips.
Yeah, denim has completely rewired our physical perception of where clothes are supposed to sit. We're so used to modern jeans that just, rest casually on the hip bones.
But tailored trousers are. They're engineered with an entirely different architecture, right?
Exactly. It comes down to what tailors call the rise. And the rise is just the physical distance from the crotch seam up to the top of the waistband.
Okay, so dress trousers have a significantly longer rise.
Yes, because they are structurally designed to anchor at your natural waist, not down on your hips.
And for anyone trying on a new pair of trousers, finding that natural waist is crucial. It's basically the area right around or just above your hip bone, essentially right at the level of your navel.
Right. And there's a very specific structural reason for that higher placement. It's all about the drape of the fabric.
How so?
Well, when you anchor the waistband at the natural waist, the fabric has this longer runway to fall cleanly down the leg. It basically bypasses the widest part of the hips.
Oh, I see. So it allows the trouser crease to stay really sharp and straight.
Exactly. And visually, that elongates your legs and balances your proportions. But beyond just looking good, it serves a highly practical function. It closes the gap.
Ah, the dreaded shirt gap.
Yes, the shirt gap. Think about it. When you wear trousers down on your hips, the distance between your waistband and your jacket button is huge.
Right, so you reach for something on a high shelf or, I don't know, turn quickly in your office chair, and the shirt just pulls right up.
And suddenly you've got this messy wedge of crumpled shirt fabric peeking out. Or worse, bare skin.
Yeah, nobody wants that in a meeting.
No, absolutely not.
Yeah.
But when you pull the trousers up to the natural waist, they overlap with the shirt properly. The whole outfit stays locked in place no matter how much you move around.
Moving the waistband up to the navel literally fixes the untucked, messy look instantly. It's the quickest upgrade you can make. But, okay, let's unpack this for a second.
Sure.
Because if we move the waist up high and then we add folds of fabric to the front, aren't we just describing, like, grandpa pants?
I hear this all the time.
Right, because for the last, 10 or 15 years, every magazine has been pushing flat front, slim fit trousers.
That is the ultimate pushback when people transition to classic tailoring. We've been totally conditioned to view slim fit as the only modern standard.
Yeah, like if it doesn't look painted on, it's dated.
Exactly. But the idea that you must wear flat front trousers, meaning trousers with a completely smooth front, it's honestly just a passing trend.
Interesting. So flat fronts aren't the be-all and end-all.
Not at all. They look sleek on mannequins, sure, and they flatter very narrow builds, but they completely ignore the ergonomics of an actual working professional. That's where pleats come in.
And just to clarify, pleats are those vertical, folded strips of fabric sewn directly into the waistband, right, just below the belt line.
That's it. A pleat is essentially just a heady volume of fabric. So when you're standing perfectly still, the fold stays flat. It maintains a nice, clean line.
Well, we don't just stand still at work all day.
Right. When you sit down at a desk, your thighs expand, your hips widen. If you're wearing a flat front trouser, it's going to pull really tight across your lap. It digs into your skin. It stretches the seams.
Oh, yeah, that is not comfortable.
Exactly. But a pleat acts like an accordion. It physically opens up and releases that extra fabric to give you room to breathe. It's an ingenious mechanical solution.
So if your job requires sitting for long periods, or, if you just have an athletic or fuller build, pleats are highly functional.
Yes, they are an ergonomic necessity, not some dated fashion choice.
That really flips the conventional wisdom. The clothing should be doing the heavy lifting to fit your body, not the other way around.
Precisely, you shouldn't have to force yourself into a restrictive trend.
Okay, so following the fabric from that expanded waist all the way down to the floor, we have to talk about how the trouser meets the shoe. The tailoring term for this, based on our sources, is the break.
Yes, the break. It's the physical crease or fold that happens when the bottom hem of your trouser makes contact with the top of your shoe.
And this operates on a bit of a spectrum, right?
It does. On one end, you have a full break.
Yeah.
That means the trouser's left quite long, so it creates a deep, heavy fold of fabric resting on the shoe.
Which reads as very traditional, maybe even a little dated.
Yeah, it can definitely look a bit heavy or dated today. Then, on the other extreme, you have no break. That's where the tailor hems the pant, so it just barely kisses the top of the shoe. The leg remains perfectly straight.
And the no break look seems really influenced by, modern sneaker culture leading into office wear, where you're really trying to show off the shoe.
Exactly. It's very trendy. But if you're building a reliable, everyday professional wardrobe, our sources highly recommend a specific middle ground, the quarter break.
The quarter break, that's the modern sweet spot.
It really is. The tailor cuts the hem so that the front of the trouser just slightly rests on the shoe, creating a single subtle dimple in the fabric.
Just one dimple.
Just one. It signals that your clothes were tailored intentionally. What you really want to avoid is fabric that is pooling.
Pooling, like when excess cloth bunches up in these heavy folds around your ankles.
Right, because that doesn't look like a stylistic choice. It just signals, hey, I bought pants that are too long and I haven't bothered to hem them.
Yeah, it just looks unfinished. So the foundation of a great trouser is anchoring it at the natural waist, utilizing pleats for ergonomic room if you need it, and getting a clean quarter break.
That applies across the board perfectly.
But of course, women have an expanded toolkit for the bottom half. Skirts are a massive component of this foundation. And looking at the modern workplace, our sources emphasize this critical point. Tailored trousers and skirts carry the exact same professional weight.
I'm so glad we're talking about this. There's absolutely zero hierarchy between them today.
Because decades ago, corporate dress codes used to mandate skirts for women, right?
Oh, yeah. But that era is completely over. A well-tailored pair of wide-leg trousers or a sharp ankle pant is just as appropriate for a board meeting as a skirt.
So the choice rests entirely on what makes you feel the most confident and comfortable in your specific environment.
Exactly. But for anyone who does want to utilize skirts, the mechanics of them are fascinating.
They really are. Like the undisputed office standard. The pencil skirt, it's slim, it's cut straight down, contours closely to the body. And I didn't know this, but Christian Dior actually cemented the modern pencil skirt in his 1954 collection.
Yes, he called it the H-line.
The H line, because it looks like an H.
Exactly. And it was revolutionary. Post-war fabrics were still being rationed in a lot of places. And the pencil skirt used significantly less material than those massive sweeping skirts of the 1940s.
Right, but Dior's design created a severe mechanical problem, didn't it?
Oh, a massive one.
Yeah.
When you take a piece of woven non-stretch fabric and tailor it into a narrow tube that goes past the knees, the wearer physically cannot take a normal stride.
You essentially bind the legs together.
You do, which leads to the invention of the vent and the kick pleat. Form follows function once again.
So a true professional pencil skirt requires structural relief in the back just so you can walk or climb stairs or get on a train.
Exactly. A vent is a vertical slit, but crucially, a well-made one has an underlay of fabric, and a kick pleat is an inverted fold.
So they aren't designed to be provocative or to expose the leg.
Not at all. They're purely structural elements. They stay closed when you stand still and gently open to allow your legs a full range of motion when you walk.
That makes so much sense. Now, if the close fit of a pencil skirt feels just, too restrictive for an 8-hour workday, the alternative staple is the A-line skirt.
Right, the A-line, named for its silhouette. It fits snugly at the natural waist and then flares out gradually to the hem, so it mimics a capital letter A.
And it's highly forgiving, right?
Very. Because the fabric doesn't cling to the hips or thighs, it gives you incredible freedom of movement. Plus, it creates a really strong visual balance, so it's universally flattering.
Now, regardless of whether you choose the pencil or the A-line, there is a baseline rule for length in a professional setting. The hem should sit right at or just slightly below the knee.
The knee length standard is really just about practical modesty in a working environment.
Right, so you're not constantly tugging at it.
Exactly. When a skirt sits at the knee, you can sit down, cross your legs, and move around a busy office without constantly adjusting the fabric. It removes the garment as a source of distraction.
Which allows you to focus entirely on your work. Okay, so if your trousers or your skirt are now sitting properly at the natural waist, the next challenge is keeping them there.
Yes, the great divide in waist management.
Friction versus suspension. Let's look at friction first. We are, of course, talking about belts.
Belts are the ultimate connector. They bridge the gap between the top half and the bottom half of your outfit.
And there is a cardinal rule with belts that takes all the guesswork out of getting dressed. When you put on a belt, its color and leather texture must match your shoes. Always, not your trousers, not your shirt, your shoes. So if you are wearing black leather loafers, you wear a black leather belt.
And if you're wearing brown suede Oxfords, you wear a brown suede belt.
Mm.
You really want the leathers to live in the same family.
Why is that so critical?
Because it creates a deliberate visual frame. Your belt and your shoes basically bookend the trousers. When those two match, it instantly signals to the room that your outfit was intentional.
Right. It shows an attention to detail that subconsciously translates to how people perceive your overall professional competence.
Exactly. It's a small detail with a massive psychological return. But, the way belts are actually used brings up a really fascinating functional divergence between menswear and women's wear.
Because they often serve two completely different roles.
Right. Historically and practically, men's belts function through friction and compression. The male torso is typically narrower, just above the hip bones, so the belt cinches the waistband tightly, using friction against the body to fight gravity.
Just literally holding the trousers up.
Yep. But in women's wear, belts are frequently utilized as a purely decorative tool to define the silhouette.
Oh, like when a wide leather belt is worn over the outside of a blazer or cinched around a shift dress.
Exactly.
Yeah.
In those scenarios, the belt doesn't even interact with belt loops. The dress isn't in danger of falling down. The belt is acting as a waist cincher, breaking up a block of fabric and defining the natural waistline.
And both of those uses, the utility method and the decorative method, are totally appropriate for the office.
Fully legitimate, yes.
But okay, knowing how to use them is one thing. Actually, navigating a store to buy one can be overwhelming. I like to view belt widths and materials as a kind of formality dial.
Oh, I love that analogy.
Yeah, you can tune an outfit up to be strictly formal or dial it down to business casual entirely by swapping the belt.
That dial is basically controlled by two factors, the width of the strap and the texture of the material. A formal bolt is narrow, typically about 1¼ inches wide.
And smooth, right?
Yes, smooth, polished leather with a subtle shine. That narrow, sleek profile is exactly what you pair with dress trousers or a sharp pencil skirt. It's refined. It doesn't draw unnecessary attention to itself.
Okay, so to dial it down towards, say, a casual Friday look.
You increase the width and you add texture. Casual belts jump to about 1.5 inches wide or more. And the materials shift from smooth leather to braided leather, matte suede, or heavy woven fabrics.
So wider straps and rougher textures inherently read as more rugged and casual.
Exactly. You'd pair a wide braided belt with chinos or denim, but never with a formal worsted wool suit.
Got it. And the hardware on the belt plays just as big a role in that formality dial, right? The buckle really dictates the character of the belt.
It really does. The standard baseline is the frame and prong buckle.
Which is exactly what it sounds like, I'm assuming.
Yeah, it features a metal frame that the strap passes through and a single metal pin the prong that slots into the holes punched in the leather.
And what's the formality rule there?
It mirrors the strap. The smaller, thinner, and simpler the metal frame is, the dressier the belt. A slim silver or brass frame and prong is your gold standard for a professional environment.
Contrast that with the plate buckle, which is this solid piece of metal covering the entire fastening mechanism. You see this a lot in Western or rodeo styles.
Right. And because a plate buckle presents such a large, unbroken surface of metal, it's highly decorative. It draws the eye immediately to the waist.
Which makes it distinctly casual.
Totally fine for weekend wear, but it generally clashes with that subdued, streamlined aesthetic of professional dress.
Makes sense. Now, there's also this brilliant piece of modern engineering gaining traction, the ratchet belt, sometimes called an automatic belt.
I am a huge fan of these. Ratchet belts eliminate the need for punched holes entirely.
So how does it stay tight?
Well, instead of holes on the outside, the back of the leather strap features this hidden track of tiny plastic or metal teeth. The buckle contains a spring-loaded mechanism that just clicks into those teeth as you pull the strap through.
Which allows for incredible micro adjustments because traditional belt holes are usually spaced a full inch apart.
Yeah, and if you are between sizes or if you just had a heavy lunch, one hole is too tight and the next one is too loose.
But the ratchet system lets you adjust the fit by mere millimeters. That sounds vastly more comfortable for sitting at a desk all day.
It really is. Yeah. However, if you are going with a traditional hole-punched belt off the rack, there is a mathematical rule to getting the fit exactly right.
I found this detail in our research so satisfying.
The 5 holes rule.
Yes, when you look at a standard dress belt, it will have exactly 5 holes. And you always want to purchase the size that fastens perfectly on the third middle hole.
It's crucial. And there are specific mechanical reasons for aiming for that third hole.
First of all, it acts as an insurance policy. It gives you exactly 2 inches of grace in either direction if your weight fluctuates over the years, so you won't have to immediately buy a new belt.
Which is great for the wallet.
Yeah.
But the second reason is visual balance. The distance from the buckle to that middle hole dictates the length of the tail.
The tail being the extra leather that sticks out once the belt is fastened.
Right. When you use the middle hole, the tail is the exact perfect length to tuck neatly into the first keeper loop on your trousers.
Ah, because if you use the first hole, the tail is way too long and just flaps around your hip.
Exactly. And if you use the very last hole, it's just this tiny stub that keeps popping out of the loop all day.
It is those tiny fractions of an inch that really elevate an outfit from just wearing clothes to looking meticulously put together.
Absolutely.
But, belts aren't the only option. We talked about friction. Now we need to look at suspension. Let's say you have a fuller midsection and a leather strap digging into your stomach for 8 hours is just agonizing.
Or perhaps you're wearing formal wear like a tuxedo, where a shiny metal belt buckle would just ruin the unbroken lines of the suit.
Right. This is where you abandon friction entirely.
And transition to braces, or, as they're commonly referred to in the U.S., suspenders.
Braces completely rewrite the physics of how your trousers stay up. Instead of cinching the waist tightly to fight gravity, braces use straps over the shoulders to suspend the trousers from above.
The comfort upgrade is massive, unparalleled, really.
Because the trousers are just hanging from your shoulders, you don't need the waistband to be tight at all.
Right, it can fit quite loosely, which eases back strain and completely eliminates the waistband digging into your stomach when you sit down.
And structurally, because the fabric is suspended, it falls in a perfectly straight, uninterrupted column all the way down to your shoes.
Tailors absolutely love braces because they allow the trouser drape to look exactly as it was designed to.
Now, if someone is adding braces to their professional toolkit, there is a crucial distinction in how they actually attach to the trousers, because you have button-on braces and you have clip-on braces.
You always want to opt for button-on braces.
The clip-ons are a no-go.
Definitely a no-go. Button-on braces require these small buttons sewn into the interior of the trouser waistband. The braces have leather tabs that fasten onto those buttons. It's incredibly secure and traditional.
Whereas clip-on braces use those metal alligator clips that clank directly onto the top edge of the waistband.
Yeah, and those metal teeth will literally chew up and damage tailored wool or cotton over time. Furthermore, clip-ons visually just read as a novelty item, rather than a serious piece of professional menswear.
Good to know. Which brings us to the ultimate sartorial faux pas, the golden rule of waist management.
Oh, yes.
If belts hold your pants up with friction, and braces hold your pants up with suspension, why wouldn't you just wear a belt and braces at the exact same time for bulletproof security?
Because it violates the core principle of functional dressing. You must never wear a belt and braces at the same time.
Never.
Never. They perform the exact same mechanical job. If you wear both, you are sending a very loud subconscious signal to the room that your trousers fundamentally do not fit you.
Like you're terrified they're just going to fall down in the middle of a presentation.
Exactly. You have to make a choice.
Yeah.
Pick a lane, use friction, or use suspension. Never both.
Pick a lane. I love that. So let's take stock of the toolkit we've built today.
Let's do it.
If you are preparing to step into a new professional environment, You now have the structural blueprint. You know to pull those trousers up to the natural waist near the navel to eliminate the shirt gap and fix your silhouette.
You know that pleats are an ergonomic tool for comfort, not a dated trend.
You know that women can leverage skirts or trousers with total equality, utilizing vents and A-line cuts for freedom of movement.
You know how to use a belt to tie your shoes to your outfit, and you know how to rely on braces for a flawless drape.
You are fully equipped to build a solid professional foundation.
The mechanics are all there. And, as you apply these rules, I think it's really worth considering the historical journey of these garments.
What do you mean?
Well, we look at professional clothes today as tools for success, right? But they were often born out of extreme restriction or harsh survival. For instance, we discussed the pencil skirt, but a century ago in 1910, the fashion world was gripped by the hobble skirt craze.
Hobbles.
Yeah. They were skirts bound so tightly at the ankles that women were physically hobbled. They could only take these tiny shuffling steps.
Oh, wow. That sounds awful. And yet, we look at women's trousers today as an unquestioned standard. But our sources point out that in the 19th century, the pit-brow women who sorted coal in Victorian England scandalized polite society simply by wearing heavy trousers.
Yes, they wore them because they had to survive grueling manual labor in the mines, but they faced massive societal backlash for stepping out of the accepted dress codes of the time.
And even the casual chinos and webbed friction belts we wear on dress-down Fridays, those originated as raw survival gear in the military. They were designed for combat, not cubicles.
Exactly. The history of our clothing is really a history of fighting for mobility. They started as restrictions, or as raw utility.
But today, in the modern professional landscape, they are simply tools.
Just tools. As you step into your new career chapter, remember that these garments are no longer meant to restrict you or hold you back. They are highly evolved, functional tools designed to help you comfortably and confidently signal your capability to the world.
They are tools to build your foundation. So as you curate your wardrobe for this next step, remember, check your rise, embrace the mechanics of the fabrics, match your leathers, and make sure that foundation is set perfectly. Because once the base is secure, you don't have to think about your clothes anymore. You can just focus on doing great work.